Well, I have to give it to Capcom. They turned the Ibushi fight from an old man trying to get out of a slippery bathtub to something that is absolutely fun to fight. Welcome back, classy crew, to another journal in my Sunbreak journeys as I try to complete every single quest in Sunbreak, and that includes Base Rise. I have now entered endgame now that the story is behind us, and we are opening the doors to all sorts of new pain. This past week, I discovered my first Afflicted monster through an Afflicted Arzuros, which makes me wonder how much worse all the other fights are going to be, because this Arzuros punished me hard. I've got a Master Rank Ibushi and Narwa to talk about, which were surprisingly fun. These fights really changed my opinion of these monsters. Now, Narwa the All-Mother was a fight I actually learned to love in the original Base Rise. Ibushi, though, I hated Ibushi. I didn't like anything about Ibushi. That fight was so garbage that I think I made a whole video about it back when Base Rise came out. You can watch that. But now that I played it in Master, oh, I love that. I'm pretty sure I had a smile on my face the whole time I was fighting that. All right, let's get started with the most important thing. We are in endgame, which means the official start of fashion hunting has started. Now, I don't know when I unlocked this layered armor. I was just going through, I'm like, oh, I'm feeling like something new. And I opened up my layered armor selection. I was like, oh, what is this? I've got new and sexy, like, Final Fantasy vibes to this suit. I don't even know what it's from, what it's inspired by, where I unlocked it, but this thing was in my inventory. I'm not a fan of having, like, the white hair, because I'm like, no, I don't actually have white hair. So I put on this really slick blue, like, half-open button shirt showing off those abs I wish I had. And you put some glasses on there for the classiness. And man, I've never looked so good as a hunter. This new look, whatever it's called, I think it's called the Azure outfit or something. Off I go. I cleaned out a few follower quests, including a Sir J quest, some Furain and Rondine quest, and Furain and Luchica, which is increasing my bond with all of them. You know what? Here's an idea. If you've ever played Persona 5, there's this whole social aspect to the game where you can level up your friendship. I think these follower quests are a good start, but could be taken even further if there was a social aspect where you're like farming points to level up your friendship with these NPCs, and maybe that like unlocks something, whether they bring you more items from the field, or maybe they get a little bit more boost in their attack, or like they I don't know, drop flash bombs more often. I think that Capcom could really lean into this whole follower quest and do something way more with it that could be really exciting, especially for those who, for whatever reason, can't or won't play multiplayer. So anyways, let's talk about the good stuff. The next thing that was on my list after I finished the final boss of the game was to get to Master Rank 10. I did that through a grind stream, and that's where you unlocked the Afflicted monster business. This is starting off with an Afflicted Arzuros. Now, Arzuros, my Pooh Bear, I love this guy. I love fighting this bear. He's fun. Oh! And now he's dialed up to Super Saiyan. It's kind of ridiculous. I forget what the status is called, but they it seems like Afflicted monsters can get you with this like blood thing, which I don't know what it does. Oh yeah, it impacts your ability to heal, so you can't heal as good, and it's like leeching off your life, and it just makes you suck more. Like it's a really good handicap for when you're too strong. And then there's all these like explosive bits now on the Afflicted monster. So if you hit Arzuros in the right spots, he blows up, and there's these like red damage things, which makes the fight even more satisfying, because I'm like, oh, I'm gonna like. Otherwise, he's super aggressive, which made me be even more defensive, because 1-2 swipes of this bear and you are just destroyed. And if I had this much trouble with the bear, I'm like, oh my god, like he is a threat level like 1 monster. What is this gonna be when it's an Afflicted Furious Rajang? I am literally getting a stomach ulcer from just thinking about the pain of 2 Afflicted Furious Rajangs in an arena. You know what's gonna happen. So I finished that, which unlocked my Master Rank, and the next goal was Master Rank 20. I instantly hit it because I had so much accumulated experience, and that's when I unlocked Master Rank Ibushi, and I was like, oh no, not enough. Now, the most of my criticism in the original, I hated the Base Rise Ibushi fight so much, I actually avoided fighting him. I didn't like his armor, I didn't like the fight, I didn't like anything. To be fair, Ibushi is introduced in a Rampage, and it could be that I just didn't give Ibushi enough time to appreciate the fight, but my memories of it is I was flailing in the air 70-80% of the time, and he's just slipping and sliding and being all like, rah, rah. And like the fact that they introduced him in a Rampage, I think, is the biggest disservice they did to the Ibushi fight. And then afterwards you fight him again in the Narwa Ibushi, but I think he was a little Narwa basically shined him out of the business, because Narwa becomes the All-Mother, and then that fight is actually good, and so you're like, no, Ibushi's still trash. The fact that I got to have Ibushi one-on-one in an arena setting, master rank with some new moves, it was so great. And I don't know if this is because of my skill or just because they fine-tune them, or a little bit of both, but I was not flailing in this fight. There was beautiful vocal music playing through the whole thing. Bright spots on the monster, which you could say is cheap, but it is so satisfying when you know that's the weak point and you just like keep smashing it and then you see the bright spot explode. So that was great. The whole like, you know, wail on it, and then when he like summons the rocks, you go on the rocks, and then you go like do 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 do. All of that was just so satisfying. And then knowing, also as a hunter, and just knowing that I have a Dragonator and I have a nuke that I can use, and knowing when to use that, like it's a knowledge thing. I understand. I closed the gap of knowledge with the Ibushi fight, but just the dance is good. You know, we always talk about the dance. He's got like these blasts which you can dodge, and he's not really, honestly, he was not very threatening. I never felt like I was gonna lose or anything, but it was fun. It was just fun. I'm like, I'm gonna dodge now, I'm gonna hit you here, or I can't hit you here, but I'm gonna hit you here. I was just going back and forth. So I had a good time with Ibushi. My respect for him, much more. If you liked Ibushi before, hey, I'm sorry that I insulted your favorite monster. He's kind of cool now. After that unlocked Master Rank 20. We now had Master Rank 30 on the radar, so hit that instantly as well, and I unlocked Master Rank Narwa, which I was like, of course, if Ibushi's there, Narwa's going to show up soon. This fight, I kind of enjoyed. I've always preferred Narwa over Ibushi, so I went into this with like, well, this is just going to be a better fight. And it was just as, I wouldn't say even it was better than Ibushi. It felt like on par with Ibushi. So like these two serpents just feel both satisfying fights now. What I was super surprised was that at the point where usually Magnamalo jumps in, it's now Malzeno that shows. I was like, what is freaking Malzeno doing here? I was like, oh my god, do I get to like ride him? And you get to ride him, and then proof of a hero. I was like, oh my goodness. And I don't know if I was in the zone or what was happening, or if it's the fact that Narwa has a lot of weak spots, but I was seeing like gold numbers flash everywhere, just boom, 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 and I'm just like swishing and swaxing. Yeah, sure, why not? Everything I was hitting on this thing, gold numbers, and it was just so satisfying because it felt like I was fighting properly and I was being effective in my hunt, and it was just like adrenaline, not adrenaline. Endorphin. I didn't really get adrenaline off these fights, but the endorphin rush is just as good as the adrenaline rush. So those were my big fights. I also took on the event quest, the new one from Astalos. And this one was a gold crown for me. It was a tiny Astalos. And it was one of my smoothest fights of the night. I don't know why. Maybe I have a natural, maybe the switch axe just plays really well against Astalos. I had no troubles with this Astalos. I was literally running circles around him, hitting him. I even pulled off a really cool move where he was about to come down with his tail and like put it on the ground. As I was doing my my swish back, like front flip axe, and as I did the front flip, his tail was coming in, and woof, I just like chopped off his tail. It was super smooth, super satisfying. It was really fun fight. Had a good time. Now let's get into some things that I've learned. So as I've shared before, I think my DPS is still low, and I still do to this day, but I've been starting to play a little bit with my skills, exploring new things. Two skills I've never used in my life before I've started using. One is defense boost. Now, I heard defense boost sucked in World, but people said try it in Rise, and I'm really happy I did. It made a lot of my fights a lot more comfortable, which is maybe why I liked all the fights that I just described. So I have a defense boost 7, which gives me defense plus 10%, bonus of 35 defense, and gives me an elemental resist to all elements of 5. This, with pretty much endgame armor, gives you almost 100 plus defense, which is freaking amazing. So and it only took up 2 slots. I have one 4 slot, which takes me to defense boost 5, and then I have another 2 slot deco, which gives me the additional 2. So I don't feel like it's a big sacrifice, but I do recognize that I have a heck of a lot of defense skill, which is probably why I'm laughing as I'm killing all these monsters, because I have full evade window, full evade extender, defense boost. I'm like just jacked up in defense stuff. The reason I'm not really successful at increasing my DPS right now is the fact that I just don't have the parts to make the good stuff. I can't make weakness exploit decorations. I can't make attack plus. Those are going to come eventually as I grind those out. One thing I did improve, and there's, I believe it's Billy Bumbler in the chat who has been calling me out for like a month saying, parts on polish protect on there. I think it's called polish protect. Finally, I gave in. I put 1 little ounce of protective polish, which when you sharpen, it helps keep that purple sharpness for 30 seconds. And if I keep upgrading, I can go up to 90 seconds. So So this lets me do more damage when I sharpen, and I feel it. It's a good, comfy skill to have. So as I slowly pick up more parts and go deeper into endgame, I will need to eventually boost my DPS and slowly slot in more attack, more weakness exploit, more critical stuff, and anything else you might suggest that is good for a Switch X. I already have Rapid Morph. That's already in there, level 3. I also learned some new things when it comes to the Palamutes. So this is ridiculous. I was chasing a Basarios on my Palamute, and I was like, man, I really wish I could like attack like this Palamute because, or not the Palamute, the Basarios. I just finished on my Final Fantasy VII playthrough, the bike scene where I'm like smashing a big boss on my bike, and it felt so similar in Monster Hunter. I'm like, why can't you attack? People were like, you can attack with your Palamute. I was like, what? So I learned that if you hit the attack button while riding your Palamute, you can actually tell your Palamute to attack. Is it effective? No. Is it satisfying? A little bit. When you're chasing someone, you want to give a little hit. So I learned that your Palamute can attack while you're riding. And I also learned, this is going to sound so stupid, that you can change the weaponry of your Palamute. Not like the weapon that they have, but they have technique weapons that you can equip to things like scrolls and stuff. I completely overlooked this part of the game, so I didn't know about this. So we gave the Palamute a gun, and I think this gun helps keep the monster in place. And I did another one, which is a scroll, which I think boosts my attack and defense or something. So yeah, I unlocked a little bit more gameplay. I'm learning more stuff. It's always satisfying. Another thing is I keep teasing that I want to do all the achievements in the game, and I'm not quite committing to that yet, but I am trying a little bit. And so some of the people said, well, you're going to have to start taking pictures of everything because there's like 5 achievements locked behind photography. And so I started like, well, we might as well just start knocking them out while we're going. So in my hunts, I take pictures of all of the wild, whatever you call it, the wildlife or the endemic life, and I started like filling it out in my journal. So that's actually been fun of like, oh, have I taken a picture of this yet? No, I haven't. Take a picture. And I'm just slowly filling in my scrapbook. It's been really satisfying of just taking pictures of everything. I did get 3 achievements, and I am now at 30% all achievements, just to give you an update where I'm at. So in the last one, a lot of people did not get this, so I don't even know if most people know this, but there's a sailor who's by the docks that you can talk when you see items in his boxes, and he'll give you random items which are worth points, and if you get enough of them, you get an achievement for that. I finally unlocked that. It took me quite a while, so you have to talk to him like after every quest to get all the items from him. I got another one just for killing my first afflicted monster. Most of you will probably get that just through playing. And I also got another achievement for teaching my canine lots of techniques, which is another one you will probably unlock naturally. Now, I know that when it comes to 100%ing Monster Hunter, the biggest thing, the biggest time sink are gold crowns. So I was curious to see how far I actually am just through playing naturally. So out of all the large monsters in my logbook, there are 52 that I can collect crowns. And I'm not sure if I've collected all of them yet, like if I've unlocked all of them. Because I know some Apex monsters are actually missing from my journal log. But out of those 52 large monsters, I have 12 gold crowns for the 12 large gold crowns and 10 small gold crowns. So I'm about a fifth of the way through that. So that it's kind of telling me like, maybe don't do the achievements. So the next goal, I have to get to master rank 50. I'm not sure what unlocks there. I've unlocked 3 levels of the Afflicted quest. I have not started my Afflicted grind stuff just because I've been unlocking the urgent quests and just messing around with grinding and stuff. But next stream, I'm going to be diving more into Afflicted monster territory. I'm going to be knocking out more follower quests because I am enjoying doing those. And just gradually, making myself a little bit more stylish, getting some more decorations, doing all the fun stuff, taking more pictures, just having a good time. And I want to do more grind streams on weekends because I'm going to need that to progress. There's just so many quests out there, and then they keep dropping a new one every week with events. Like I am eating good. I'm at a buffet, and I'm just like, give me more of this stuff because it's delicious stuff. So let me know if you've had the chance to try Master Rank Ibushi and Narwa. Would love to hear your thoughts. If you loved it and what were your impressions of those 2 monsters in Base Rise? What is it now in Sunbreak? Do you love it, like it, hate it, or meh? Let me know, and I'll see you on the next journal. Until next time, keep it classy. Subscribe.